got my license, my dad was a car dealer and he used to trade in the horrible cars, the bunky cars that nobody wanted. They were called trade-in shit boxes. They were the ones I was privileged enough to be able to take home. One of these cars that he traded was a Toyota T18. I was told by people in the know this was a pretty good handling car. It was a red one, it was a bit sketchy, had a bit of rust in it. But I jumped in this thing and it was just bloody magnificent. It cornered beautifully. And that was a generation before this AE86. That was my first taste of a rear-wheel drive Corolla, the Toyota T18. Since then, I grew up a little bit. I'd heard about these Corolla AE86s many years later. And I'd seen the initial D cartoons and I thought, oh, it was all a bit of a hype, it was all a bit of a fantasy. And lo and behold, this Irish bloke comes into the shop and he's got a Toyota Corolla AE86, the notchback version. It was a bit of a rough car. It had massive plated pieces of metal in there where the rust had been cut out and roughly welded back in. And it had a race seat in it and no power steering, no air conditioning, and a big exhaust on it. And I thought, oh my God. Anyway, we traded it in for a fairly low price. I took it home that night, took it for a run, and the car absolutely charmed me. It was just so light, so chuckable, so responsive, so much fun to drive. So I'd been smitten by the Corolla AE86. Actually, we sold that car and I went looking for a nice one in Japan, and we've had several really beautiful ones that we've hand-picked out of Japan, and this is one of those cars, the one we're in today. So this is a really special car, mainly because of the condition. It's just a really immaculate example, and it's got the two things that I really love, well, that I think make it into a more than just maybe a track car or a thrasher car. It's got power steering, it's got air conditioning. So this one, not only is it fun, and it's been tweaked, this one. So this one's got adjustable coilovers, a beautiful set of rims, a nice exhaust on it. So it's a really good, fun little car to drive. I jump in one of these after driving a modern car, and I just feel like I've gone from something that's inert and somewhat dead, and it's like you're in a bubble in a modern car. You're cushioned from the road. You've got all these electronic devices stopping you from doing things, and you're kind of a little bit removed from the machine. Whereas you get in a little car like this, it's raw, it's analog, you're connected, you're dialed in. I can feel every ripple on this road through this hard suspension. Every little input on the steering wheel, it's moving around, it's dancing under my fingers. So it's a thing of beauty. It's like playing a fine instrument, a guitarist, a cellist or a violinist. You can feel everything. This is a famous movie car in Japan and around the world from the Initial D cartoon series. And I think that's introduced a lot of kids to the car scene because it's inviting, it's got a great storyline, it's all about the cars, it's got a little bit of plot and character to it. And of course, this is the hero car, and it's a little bit of a David and Goliath story where this is the diminutive Corolla. It's the cheapest car that you could buy. It's the least powerful car, yet on a twisty mountain road, the skillful Takumi, I think maybe is the main character's name, he goes and slays the big fellas in their twin turbo GTRs and rotary RX-7 turbos. Dan, the cameraman, who's sitting next to me right now, as he climbed into this for the first time a few minutes ago, he said, geez, it's small, Philip, and he's hit the nail on the head. This is a small and light car, and it hasn't got all the heavy safety gear in it that weighs down modern cars. So that's the beauty of the design. It's small, it's light, it kind of, the size of it wraps around your body like a lot of older cars. So I'm thinking of old 911s, the old Datsun 240Zs. They are on a similar scale to this, not too big, not too heavy. So when you give the car a little bit of extra pep and improve the handling a little bit with some upgraded suspension and brakes and what have you, it just comes alive in your hands, and that's That's the absolute joy of driving a car like this, especially on a road like this, on a morning like this. We've got sunrise, crack of dawn, no one's around. Driving is an absolute pleasure on this type of road.